Oh, yeah. Here we go. We're in Burger King. It's packed and loaded here with a whole bunch of people, traffic, and all of that business.
135, Land Charlie, with ACU 9.
New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio.
Thank you, operation. That's RT operation. Were there any injuries? And did the first get on the train?
59 past the hour. It is 31 degrees and clear skies on this Friday, February 22nd.
No injuries, right?
I'm with Red Volley. The U.S. is keeping an eye on rising.
No injuries at this time.
In our own backyard. Starting closer to home, President Trump says the U.S. may have to take control of Cuba. Trump told reporters things are bad on the nation, and the government is dealing with people. This, of course, comes amid an investigation into a deadly shootout on the waters between Florida and Cuba. Cuba has been cut off from its oil supply after the DOJ arrested former Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, things are increasingly tense regarding Iran. President Trump says he's not pleased with how talks have been going.
Sergeant calling on level 1 mobilization regards to confirm 20 at knife point. Mobilization point. Future copy 60-second translation in regards. Looking for 2 male black. 2 male black, bearing all black, set towards set southbound. D-train, Central Utah copy.
Wear the seatbelt when riding in an apartment vehicle. Reminder, the supervisor on the scene of an incident should consistently reevaluate personnel present and have non-essential personnel resume patrol.
Former President Bill Clinton released his opening statement on social media where he said he never saw or did anything wrong. Mayor Zoran Mamdani is
That's our G2, the captain. It was a last mobilization.
Mamdani says the two spoke about housing and how it works together to make the
In regards to confirm 20 at 9 point, mobilization point is New Utrecht and 62nd Street train station, the D-line. 2 male blacks wearing all black states that they fled towards southbound on D-train. SRT operations, the advice is fled southbound on the D-train on New Utrecht Avenue. 10-4.
ICE raids are not only cruel, they also do nothing to advance the cause of public safety.
The mayor says he got a phone call from the president shortly after their meeting informing him the student was released. In New Jersey, elected officials also talking about conflicting reports.
Force Mayor Ross Baraka has signed an executive order banning ICE agents from taking immigration enforcement action inside public buildings without a search warrant. Baraka referred to ICE agents as collection chapters, and this came after a ICE-involved vehicle chase led to a crash and 3 children being hurt. This week, Governor Carroll siding with some Republicans in Morris County for opposing an ICE detention center that's planned for a warehouse. Republicans in Morris County say surrounding roads, highways, and utilities aren't equipped to support a warehouse detention center. James Slocum, 477 WABC News.
43-year-old man found not guilty by rape in Sandy after being his husband first found his wife in wet clothes, barely conscious. 911, thinking she overdosed on drugs. Police and EMS got to the home. Officers say the husband went upstairs to find the television in the bathtub.
Escalating section of nearby investigating patrol area reporting my traffic at the Brooklyn Bridge, where West Street on the south is also by the time of Question of the computer to move on. That's confident for the heart of that was time being great that for that case. Very well.
3-3 response 1. 3-3 response 1. Showing transported 3 defendants from District 33 and 1975. Got anybody from
Financial News Friday was a down day on Wall Street in February.
Keep me updated on the 54 at 26 South Broadway.
It was another negative day on Wall Street on Friday, with worries about AI taking our jobs and doing away with the need for so many businesses. Dow, Nasdaq, and February was a negative month, the worst since March of last year. So it's all about a new day, a new week, and a new month of trading coming up. Among the things to look out for, earnings from iHeartMedia on Monday, from CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity software company, on Tuesday, and next week is Jobs Week again, so you get private jobs on Wednesday, and the big one, so-called non-farms government jobs for the month of February, and that'll be next Friday. John Terrett, 77 WABC News.
Force
Full court press with Sean Spicer using his experience as a former White House press secretary and DC insider. Sean will tackle the hottest political and cultural
5 Mary, High Central, Hoist, Mahana, Seattle.
Mondays at 10 a.m. on 77 WABC.
4.
Worldwide on CNN.com and of course the WABC app available on all smartphones.
Station point is Louis Check Avenue 6th Street. In regards to two more blacks when all black vets was southbound on the Z train at Louis Check Avenue.
I got a call from Grand Central, Robert 38. Male complaining about chest pain.
May 179.
Charlie.
One Charlie 1. D198 American. Should be a time at 7 Broadway.
63.
We have other people who have microphones.
1907, enjoy.
Podcasters.
Thank you.
Of a big following. Of bots. Of Islamists. Of Nazis in particular.
Female black press. Free and all black situation. Southbound of the train at the Jackson.
About whether we think the president is going to take action against Iran and to be cold. The answer is yes.
So I'm there on the location central. We're right in front of the booth, right in front of the main Grand Central.
Really
J.P.
like
Roberts, is that correct?
we want that result.
EMS just dropped the ETA.
Not the least of which is our own national security and defense of our generation. That is the next generation, the generation after that. And yes, we've had enough of the slaughter of the Persian people in Iran. We've had enough of the terrorism. We've had enough of the threat against our president.
3-4 response 1.
These Islamists
Correct.
have committed multiple
problem.
acts
No
of war.
problem. Because I'm saying
The
is
most
the
probably
biggest
been very well in response.
civilian driver was my
The
MOS.
other presidents
MOS.
have taken action. Two of them, Ronald Reagan and Trump. Two of the greatest presidents of my lifetime.
Sergeant, sorry, we sent multiple messages in regards to the injured MOS that they pain. The last message that was sent, they're advising they're unable to provide an ETA. They're in backlog. They don't have a ETA.
In order to keep up the numbers, the number of eyes, that's not what the unit is based on. say the most outrageous
75
thing.
Sam,
We always start
7407,
with
thank you.
peace in Israel. But here's the bottom line. The president makes the decision. The president has his foreign policy. We voted for the president. We have faith and trust in the president. We just spent the last hour explaining why we think he will take action because there's really no alternative in the end. And he will come under criticism from Qatar, from bloated diamonds, from facelift.
Closing mileage 43698.
She looks like she's had more facelifts than the... Boy, they hate me, man. They were trashing me all day today. I don't listen to them. I didn't know people had sending me stuff. Do you know that, Mr. Easy irrelevant.
C-Train, section, put it on C-Train. No, 91 ejection by 1.
They fear me. That's why they can't stop talking. They're jealous.
37.
They're jealous. I love the way they talk about age. I think I'm like 8 or 10 years older than them.
And
they
the other
pretend
vehicle has a value
they're
marked
young. They're not. Hair extensions, new tresses, whitened teeth, facelifts.
Authority of the Queen's North CRT, 1 in custody. Question, calling on
Makes it any
no
different.
further to 106th Street and 53 Avenue.
Charleston looks to me like he's transitioning. I don't know from what to what. It's one or the other. But all that aside, these people will join the Marxist left, will join the Islamists, and attack the President of the United States. They are constantly stabbing him in the back. The leaks come from the isolation within the administration are intended to undermine the President and limit his decisions. The President makes the final decision. Nobody under him makes the decision, elected or appointed. He makes the decision.
No, I'm going to show the back to
Thank
big
God.
plus on you.
And if the decision has been made, as we hope it has, and we believe it has, to defend ourselves against these warmongers, we will need to defend our president against this cabal of neo-fascists, Marxists, and Islamists. And we will. That's America first. That's America first. These buffoons, these fools, they're undermining our commander-in-chief, they're undermining our military, they're undermining our country. There's a reason why the Islamic Nazi regime in Tehran has more than I understand even yesterday.
What unit is
Are playing comments. Qatar. And we don't have enough weapons. As he trashes our country. Nobody pays.
and
Nobody.
62nd Street, in regards to male black, awaiting black, splits with southbound on the beach train at
Convicted
Union
bloody
Avenue.
felon. Convicted felon, confessed felon. Should I call him Epstein Bannon for no reason?
24th Street to Junction
I think I
Boulevard
will.
on 7th.
The guy that's all over Epstein, he won't release his video. Goes back to the war room. He wasn't-
Shots fired,
he was
5
working
Avenue,
on
allowed,
black guys in
4th
his
Street
pants.
Avenue to Ridgewood Avenue. Unconfirmed.
Complete slob. But look. Who am I to be so rude to somebody like
Just one
that?
on my fuel sensor.
So he has a guest on who is a mouthpiece for the enemy.
Did you what?
So he's a mouthpiece for the enemy. One where
If you 5.
walks away from a potential military campaign against them to defend ourselves. This is what I mean. These people are not pro-American. They're un-American. They're constantly trashing our country. Constantly. And if we decide, the president decides to deal with this,
If you Adam.
they'll undermine him. They're undermining him right now.
It's you, Adam.
This is Ali Bob Abbey, Junction to Maxwell on 7th.
Who they conspire with, who they work with. This won't go on forever. That can't last.
20 base.
That can't last.
You could cancel in Oregon
Think about
97
it.
Robert.
Carlson
Doesn't matter,
is
no attention at
aligned
this
with,
time.
is friends with, is friends with him. Relies on you and me, Mr. and Mrs. America, our vote.
And
They're not. You love our country. Some of you have fought for our country. Some of you have family members who fought for our country. The president loves our country. He defends our country. Not in isolation. That's pretty obvious even right now, isn't it? He rejects these Islamists. His family members who are Jews. Obviously, family members who are Christian. He's Christian. We're not going to put up with the poison. We're not going to put up with these people, a handful of them. They're living off their past. Some of them got big because they were on Fox, and that's all they have. Because most of them are disgruntled former employees of some major corporation.
Yeah, you're coming over the wrong frequency.
The whole podcasting was a problem with the model. If you really want to maintain a huge audience, you have to appeal to Islamists in Pakistan. The government will use bots. To the lowest of the lowlives in our country, you have to appeal them. With your cancerous, metastasizing vulgarity and vile. If you're an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 7-year-old, so forth. To have them listen to facelift Kelly. She'll be covering their ears all the time. She's so foul. She talks like a drunken sailor. Worse than a drunken sailor. Just a drunk. With those F-bombs and F-O, she's cool. She's cool. And then when they interview each other, that's like dumb talking to dumber. These people are undermining our country. They're undermining the president and commander-in-chief. They're undermining our military. And they give aid and comfort to the enemy. It's that simple. They're using their platforms and their audiences for good. To make them money. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I diversify. I don't have to rely on one thing to do anything. I simply don't. I'll be right back.
Western Avenue, 180, possibly one of the same with that 54 EC. Keep me advised, please. Negative. EMS is in complete backlog at this time.
Top station of New York. What is Mark Levin? Stand up for your country. Real New York, 77 WABC. Sunday night at Chicago. Live more interesting. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says even though Canada and the U.S. are in a vicious trade war, he still loves the American people. Yeah, I heard a crap like this out of Canada since Loverboy. Breaking out the First Amendment and holstering the chains. Sunday night at 8 Nebraska. Win across the line. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. 77 WABC. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an offer near you. This is 77 WABC politics. Dominic Carter, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg declines to bring an assault charge in the NYPD snowball attack with the suspect now only facing slap on the wrist misdemeanors. How did we get here? This from Fox News.
NYPD making an arrest in Monday's snowball attack on police in Washington Square Park. The 27-year-old Guzman Colaboli is under arrest for his role in Monday's attack. Left 2 New York police officers injured. Colaboli is no stranger to police. He was arrested just a few weeks ago for an attempted robbery in the transit system. You'll remember this is how Mayor Manzano described the governor of New York was asked about Monday's attack and said this. Our police officers put themselves into it every single day.
President Trump, during his State of the Union address, telling Democrats to stand up if They believe that protecting Americans, not illegal aliens, was the government's first duty. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Let's get that job to Adam.
We're lucky we have a country with people like this. Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped just in the nick of time, didn't we? And the week ended with 2 busy days for Bill and Hillary Clinton, each testifying
No, they
on
understand
Jeffrey
that's pretty
Epstein.
fun.
One was really much so.
I'll align them.
As the plus one to guest someone who was invited.
And that was the week in politics. Together on the radio. Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected. You can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So call now. 9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132. Radio's famous.
Robert Greenway is outstanding, director of the Allison Center for National Security. Robert Greenway, I played some of the clips of the president today, and I'd be shocked if he didn't make up his mind that we're going in. You listened to what he said today? What is your take?
Like you, I think he's been remarkably consistent about this, and I think the Iranians have not recognized the fact that they're dealing with a different president, and that in fact they have a lot of wiggle room, and I think they've negotiated themselves out of any potential deal, and I think the use of force is probably the right answer. And I'd also add that I don't think this is war. A war requires 2 parties capable of doing it, and I think in this case, Iran has shown itself to be completely incapable.
And this is necessary, isn't it? I mean, we've had this Obama deal, and they have violated it left and right and top to bottom, and their ideology is such that they don't feel they have to honor any agreement they sign.
That's exactly right. I mean, in theory, a negotiated agreement on acceptable terms would be possible, but in theory, in practice, they've never been able to demonstrate the willingness, the appetite to do it. And I think also under the circumstances, the Supreme Leader, closer to death than he is, I think, to a long-lasting legacy, is incapable, I think, of reversing his position. And again, I also don't think they recognize the president they're negotiating with, and for some reason think that he might have to do this again. But you're absolutely right, they can't be trusted. They're not a reliable part of negotiating. They've shown only that they're willing to undermine every agreement and exploit every vulnerability. And I would also add that at this point in time, I don't think it warrants the risk.
On the main platform of the R line.
Again and again to deal with this problem, it'd be a lot more efficient if we didn't have to. And I think defining and decrementing their capacities to the point where it's within the capacity of our partners and allies, chiefly Israel, I think makes a great deal of sense, so that we don't have to follow this process of resurrecting and reintroducing forces in the region every time we turn around.
This could also have a positive effect vis-a-vis our position in China that relies a lot on their oil, and in Russia that relies on their drones and so forth. This is part of that access that really has built up over time, not just focused on Israel and Europe, focused on the United States. Hold on one second, Josh. Are we having a problem with the audio there? All right, let's kick it up. Go ahead.
Exactly right, Mark. You did one of the most important strategic points. This isn't something that exists in isolation. It's not just
Oh, yeah.
Israel. That's true. The more importantly, it does
Prospect, it's going to be at 91. Show some of the at this location, please.
and most importantly, it's military.
10-4.
And it competes with, and in many ways, mitigates the effects of Russian oil exports. And so, what the president is doing in Venezuela and Iran is as important relative to our adversaries in Moscow and Beijing. And in the end, being able to deny access to our adversaries of the strategic resources required for them to survive and manage their economies becomes incredibly important. And so the president is doing
35.
literally 3D checks here in the right ways. And you're right, reducing this threat is
10-4. Next unit raising.
Now, we're looking at this so-called battle.
4 plus 1.
And the Iranians don't really have an air force because they don't have much Iranians because they've got several thousand ballistic missiles, and that was part of the problem. They're building them as fast as they can, and obviously the president sees that, and he knows that, and they're trying to restart, apparently effectively, their nuclear program at another location.
want the bleeding side or the Broadway
Now, if you're wanting to put an end to this regime as quickly as possible, you go after Khomeini, I assume. What would happen?
under the current circumstances are to do three things. The first is eliminate the retaliatory attack. And then to reach out and get U.S. diplomatic military facilities. And our partners and allies, critical energy infrastructure and trade in the region. 25% of global trade, 40% of the world's energy market.
Is it under control?
Eliminate their ability to threaten that, number one. Number two, I think what we want to do is
10-4, no problem.
raise their nuclear program even more than what Midnight Hammer did. So instead of setting it back 2 years, we set it back a decade. And then lastly, I would think that the final card to play is to prevent the regime from suppressing its population, which is the siege and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and also the control of the telecommunications network that China has helped to support the Iranian regime. That prevents them from communicating with each other in the outside world. I think those three things thematically reduce the threat and also put Iran in a position where it can no longer spend the resources threatening its neighbors in the United States and has to deal with its internal security problem, and potentially allows the Iranian people for the first time in almost 50 years the ability to determine their own future.
There's been some reports about targeting Khomeini. Would that not be on your list?
Up in place and not. One is isolated and hiding and evading and preventing exposing himself to targeting, which is a futile effort, but nonetheless, I think, a self-preservation step. He's not in good health. He's, again, far closer to the grave than he is to a long-lasting legacy, and that's what I'm to make effective decisions. And three, I think he's ideologically predisposed and surrounded by individuals that are providing bad counsel, preventing them from finding a path out of this. And so I think in many ways, he is making it harder for the regime in its current form to survive. If he were eliminated, he might be replaced by someone who is more closely aligned with him. It might be a more effective leader. So I think in this sense, I would not be terrible
Give me one. I'm trying to figure that out. So I have a 3-4 sergeant or 3-4 base that came over in the distance 34 that was outside.
Now, I don't disagree with you, but others who know this area of the world, that entire regime is built around him, loyalty to him, and loyalty to his son and family. That he's got his successor in waiting, that he's already made those decisions. So that's all true to some extent anyway. Take him out and working on that inner circle, you know, what he's really they're experts and so forth and so on. I feel that might have an impact.
No problem.
But look, it's not one or the other. Do you feel like we have overwhelming assets in the area? As a matter of fact, Robert, hold on, I'd like to carry it through the break. The question is, do you feel like you have overwhelming assets?
Running around 2694, hold on.
Our terrorists are very
I'm getting 2 separate 80 jobs, bro. Actually, both via 911. I got a 54 on the Eddie platform of an Asian male with 40s and 50s vomiting. Then I got a 54 injury of an idiot that fell on the southbound flat. Unknown if it's one and the same.
Some estimates show that gold holdings now exceeding U.S. Treasury holdings.
That's a 4. And now I'm getting a 54 unconscious of an idiot female passed out northbound flat. I got busted rolls for all 3.
No pressure approach. Support for IRA eligible options. Monetary Gold is a complimentary guide to help you understand precious
For
metals.
the
Call them right
54,
now.
the 54 8 and 54 unconscious are probably one and the same. The Eddie line northbound flat. For Asian vomiting in their 40s and 50s.
77 now gold or visit marklovesgold.com. Marklovesgold.com. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Hi, this is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. I talked about how a construction accident took my father's leg. The heavy prosthetic he wore was nothing like the high-tech limbs we have today. It was crude wood and metal, held together by
Or on the Eddie platform, possibly northbound, possibly one and the same, of an Asian female that was vomiting in her 30, between 30 and 50 years old. That's the northbound Eddie plat. And I got a 54 injury on the southbound flat of a 40-year-old.
That helps accident victims and those in need of their social security and benefits. We fight to our clients get the money and dignity they deserve. So call us today at 1-800. That's 1-800-248-22. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey. So don't tell me personally.
Count for it, Charlie.
I know what they can cost the family. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. D'Agostino. Sponsored by Cigar Place, the best place to buy cigars. Visit cigarplace.com today and enter WABC for $10 off. When you're high, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your role? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Like yours, to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So here's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter. Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. With Anthony Cumia, Miss North Florida in the Miss America pageant. Haley Bush, she was decrowned for refusing to sign the updated contract with transgender policy changes. Haley says, I didn't lose my crown because I broke a rule. I lost the crown because I was unwilling to rewrite the truth. We see this happening all over the place. Sports primarily, completely unfair. It shouldn't be happening. So when you see a woman standing up for her own beliefs, I'm not going to be one of the people that embrace this and pat these people on the back and say, yes, I accept this. And you wind up losing to a man. The fact that they want everyone to accept this, it's just a blatant lie.
Affordable bags, affordable.
podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Number one.
President Ronald Reagan once said,
All great change in America begins at the dinner table.
77 WABC agrees. Serving up food for thought and bringing you
That
entertainment.
you have to have an open portable, please.
I see a lot of stuff. This, my friend, is to process.
From our dinner table to yours. Thank you for listening to 77 WABC. 132. Mark Levin. He sounds like he's strong. The Mark Levin Radio Show. Mark Levin. Thunder on the right. Call him now. 877-381-3811.
We're here with our friend Robert Greenway, director of the Allison Center for National Security and Heritage, and really an expert in the entire Middle East. So what do you think of the military assets we put in place? Are you impressive? I don't hear him at all, Mr. Producer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, had some technical difficulties tonight.
98, 98.
Maybe the Russians and North Koreans or the Iranians, who knows? Robert, are you there, sir? Oh, they're checking on us, though. Shall I answer my own question, Mr.
So responsible.
I think we have a very more than impressive array of military assets in that area. So the problem with delaying, even to this point, but delaying more, is that the Chinese are trying to provide as quickly as they can certain deadly assets to the Iranians, and they've had over 50 of the biggest transport planes, and they're massive like ours. And God knows what, and people are starting to think maybe they're sort of hypersonic missiles that they've developed to attack our carriers. However, they've never actually been used, so we're not sure. Okay, Robert, are you there? Yes, sir, I am. What do you make of the assets that we have in the region? It's pretty impressive.
It is. I think we've got now about, estimates around about 40 to 45,000 troops, 2 carrier strike groups, a significant amount of air defense assets to protect our bases and infrastructure, our partners and allies, a significant amount of global strike presence in both the U.S. and in the region, including the deployment for the first time to Israel, the F-22 Raptors.
All right, hold on 1 second. How come we're not deploying these things? I'm told that a lot of the equipment we have in Qatar, a lot of the air power we have is being moved out of Qatar. Some of it into Israel. What's that all?
Yeah, well, you'd want to have your assets outside of the range of the preponderance of Iran's short-range and medium-range ballistic missiles. So it's a little too close to Iran to be defendable in a productive way. It's much more practical for us to have them outside of the bulk of Iran's missile threat. And so Israel makes a great deal more sense. They're not immune, but they're much easier to defend in Israel than they would be from Qatar, which in the end was established really as a base to support operations in Iraq, not Iran. We do have a tremendous amount of force capable, more than capable enough to deal with the Iranian threat and retaliation, ostensibly between the United States and Israel. And so that's not an issue. It's not, as some would portray it, one of the most significant deployments. We had over 200,000 troops deployed in 2011 to the Middle East as a whole, with about 3.5 carrier strike groups on a rotational basis. So historically, it's not near the apogee, but it's more than sufficient to deal with the Iranian threat. And as we discussed before, this is not something we want to repeat. So it's in our best interest to deal with this threat and deal with it decisively.
Let me ask you a side issue, but crucial issue too. As we watched our forces move from one place to another, unmolested, if we were in a war setting with, let's say, China, they would not be unmolested. It took some time for even the lead forces to get there, USS Abraham Lincoln. My question to you is this. Is our military big enough?
That is a great question, Mark. The answer is no. We're just about to publish the 11th consecutive index U.S. military strength. We just completed an artificial intelligence protracted conflict simulation with China, and in both cases, we determined that the military is not sized properly to deal with a single pacing peer threat like China, let alone two major regional contingencies like we are likely to face in the future. And so the answer is no. And we've overextended our available fleet. And so as the Ford enters in, it's about to set the record for the longest deployment of a carrier strike group, because we've probably got perhaps half of the carriers that we need in the operational fleet.
How many carriers do we have?
I believe the number is 14, and operationally speaking, less than half at any given.
That's crazy. President wants to spend $500 billion more. I agree with him. I mean, Reagan had it up to slightly over 5% of the GDP. Where is it now? About 3%, I guess?
Yeah, it's under 3%. If the president, if his request, which we expect to drop in the month of March, gets to the $1.5 trillion mark, which, by the way, is the agreement we managed to get from our NATO partners to get to 5% of GDP, it would be the first time since the early Reagan years that we've done it. But look, the threats are I think factually greater than the single threat to the Soviet Union. China's far more capable, and now we still face the Russian Federation as well as China, in addition to Iran and others. So we're arguably facing a greater array of threats with a diminished degree of spending on our military and diminished capacity, which has been degraded now for decades.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, when we're sitting watching the carrier group moving and moving, I said, what's going on here? The reason is we don't have enough of them. And so they got to bring them from one part of the world to the other part of the world. And again, they're not under fire. They're not being interceded at all. It's just a trip from one point to another point, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. You got to have supplies. You got to do all that. That's not my point. My point is, assuming all that, you can't have carriers moving halfway around the world like this. It just isn't going to be fast enough.
No, that's exactly right. And while the carriers are surprisingly the biggest, but also some of the fastest ships in the inventory, they require a tremendous amount of escort, which in many cases are not nearly as fast, and all of which require a significant amount of supplies and material. The carriers are fast, but the escort vessels are not. And our ability to project and sustain forces is significantly diminished. And our forward infrastructure, the fuel and ammunition forward deployed to supply them, has also diminished. And all of that complicates the deployment. And our munitions numbers are recognizably low. So even, in any scenario where we attack Iran, we've got sufficient munitions. The problem is, do we have enough then to deal with the potential Chinese? Well, President Trump and Congress have done the right thing, and one big beautiful bill includes for this year. A little too slow. The demand will help an enormous amount, but a significant amount of regulatory obstacles and frankly tax burdens will have to be removed from industry to allow them to expand capacity significantly. That's happening, and it's happening because the president has decided to restore peace and strength, but it's not happening fast enough, and more is definitely going to be required.
And the Democrats fight at every damn step of the way, don't they?
Well, it's it's in too many states where the cost of construction is 203 times what the cost of building a facility is, and so that burden makes it almost impossible to make things in the United States, including those things we need for national security purposes. So we've definitely got to come to grips with that fact. And you're right, it happens unfortunately all too often, and it happens in blue states with almost with exception.
It's crazy how people think of national security, like that it's somehow some welfare program or it shouldn't be prioritized. And we rarely talk about the necessity of our military and what kind of force structure we need. That is the media and the public, because it's just not presented. It's not reported. Aren't you amazed by that?
I really am. I think we've become complacent. We're comfortable with the fact that we've got the most capable military in the world, which is absolutely true. But at the same time, we've been making withdrawals from a bank account, and we have been making deposits. And that has left us in an insolvent sort of position. And you're right. Look, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are in the right sequence. And if you're not alive, the others don't matter. And so the Constitution, bears responsibility for national defense as the preeminent. And I think that's an area where, one, we have the most responsibility, and two, we're arguably the most negligent. It's the other areas of spending that are difficult to find in the Constitution. I think they have depleted our resources. But you're absolutely right. It's amazing it hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves.
All right. I don't want to ask you a ridiculous question, so let me ask you a semi-ridiculous question. When do you feel something might happen? Within a week, I would say, if not within a few days.
Yeah, I think that's about right. It's a significant expenditure and deployment of forces. It's not done accidentally. It is now sufficient to address the threat. So the theater is set and prepared to execute the president's options. I think we don't have long to wait. And the Iranians have been, in this case, more than cooperative by putting themselves in a box where force is more likely to be used. So I think you're right. Within 5 to 7 days, I would not be surprised if force is required. And again, it won't be a war because Iran's incapable of waging one. It will, I think, on the other hand, be a market turning point in the region and a tremendous addition to the president's legacy of allowing the region, for the first time in decades, since 1979, to be able to see a possibility without an Iranian threat looming on the horizon.
I actually have one more question. What do you see Israel's role in all this?
Israel, in a world of partisan allies that don't, rise to the occasion, I think we need more Israels. And I think Israel has been the exemplar in all of this. We've given them capacity and capability, but what they've done with it has been absolutely incredible and has reduced the burden on U.S. forces and has advanced U.S. interests markedly. And so they paved the way for Midnight Hammer, and I suspect that they'll pave the way again should we're required to do it. And unlike many of our partners and allies that have been the beneficiaries of U.S. assistance, Israel has actually used it, and they've used it in cooperation with the United States, and it's markedly improved their position and ours. Again, I think they've been probably the preeminent and exemplar strategic ally.
9 million people in that country, Robert. And I would argue that their military's got to be in the top 5 or 10 of the militaries all over the world, no?
Oh, no question about it. And in the region that it lives in, it stands preeminent without question. And it's a tremendous asset for the United States to have. And it allows us really to commit our resources to other priorities because they're so capable. And in the end, I think we need more partners and allies like Israel, not less.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you. You're a good man, and we may be calling on you again next week if you don't. God bless you.
God bless you, sir. My pleasure.
You take care of yourself. Good man. Pure Talk is one of the great entrepreneurial stories of this nation. Imagine being a veteran, tired of getting ripped off by AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile on their high prices. You see your family and friends, same problem. And you say, you know what? I can do better than that. I'm going to take them on. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? We can use the exact same towers he was thinking, the same cutting-edge technology, superior 5G coverage, and I can slash the cost because they're really milking the American people dry. The veteran owner says, I didn't serve this country to come home to this. So over a period of years, he builds Pure Talk. He's a great guy. He's done a great thing. Pure Talk is an American wireless company. It supports our veterans. It invests in U.S.-only customer service team. And it only hires patriots. So when you call, you're talking to someone right here at home. Now, what's the big difference? Well, not only do they have the best customer service in the whole business, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Again, $25 a month. That's it. Those big three, how do you think they became the big three? They charge you hundreds of dollars a month for the family plan. $25 a month, that's all from Pure Talk. Again, for talk, text, more data than you'll ever need. No contract, no cancellation fee. They're on the up and up. They're on the up and up. They're a great, great small business. So don't burn your money. Just dial pound 250, pound 250. Say keyword Mark Levin, and you'll also get 50% off your first month. How do you like that? Again, dial pound 250. That's pound 250. Say Mark Levin. Switch to my wireless company, America's wireless company. Your talk. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, 27 WABC.
Slater Schulman and 488 Madison Avenue, New York, New York. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Attention former students of through 12 schools in New York City. If you were sexually assaulted as a student by a sexual predator teacher, principal, coach, or any other New York City school employee, you may be entitled to substantial compensation, even if it happened decades ago. The new city GMVA law temporarily removes the time restrictions to take legal action if you were subjected to any form of sexual misconduct by a teacher, coach, or other school staff member at any public or private school. Call 800-670-8365 to seek justice and compensation. Our attorneys may be able to hold the school accountable and get you the financial settlement you deserve. But hurry, there's a deadline to file your case. Call our law firm's 100% confidential New York City sexual abuse helpline at 800-670-8365 to see if you are eligible to seek justice and financial compensation. Call right now, 800-670-8365. That's 800-670-8365.
Now, the latest from the 77 WABC Newsroom.
It's the hit movie of the year, Marty Supreme, the story of a table tennis player striving for world recognition. The New York Times said it was the most exciting movie of the year. And part of the secret sauce to this love letter to New York in 1952 is the cast director Josh Safdie assembled. We're not talking Timothy Chalamet or Gwyneth Paltrow, but all the cameos Safdie packed into the film. One of them is 77 WABC owner and operator John Cassidy.
See, you're following way better. Look at that. You're more engaged now. Custom ball like that. It's not my way. It's original ball for original guy. It's Marty Supreme. How come Marty Ball?
When it comes to John's role in the film, Safdie told Vanity Fair that you want to cast somebody who's bringing their essence and their DNA to the role. A very regional, larger-than-life businessman. Regional, though, like on local radio. He said that he loves the way John talks, he loves the way John looks, and he loves the way he carries himself. And he also said he loves the idea that this is who holds the keys to Marty's dream. And John says he can't say enough good things about Josh.
Well, I tell you, I mean, I played opposite Timothy Chalamet, and it was fun. I mean, we worked till midnight, till 1 o'clock in the morning. We must have did 20 takes, 25 takes, right? And Josh Safdie is a perfectionist. He's the director, and he's a perfectionist.
And you can catch John Cassidy along with Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme in theaters now. You can see John in the theater and hear him on 77 WABC 5 to 6 weekdays. And Sunday mornings 8 to 10. Lisa G, 77 WABC News.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There is a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-smoker can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month level rate for 10 years, or a man age 50 non-smoker can obtain $500,000 coverage for a month premium of $110, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At Termbusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call Termbusters today for a quote at 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, 1-800-908-7636. Rate and availability may vary by state. Sample quotes based on preferred non-smoker underwriting and exam required. Call 1-800-908-7636 for details. Paid for by Robert Levenger, insurance agent.
A radio sensation that's sweeping the nation. Mark Levin.
Insurance costs are very, very high. Credit card balance high. Interest on credit cards high. Crazy. And if you have really good jobs and retirement plans and you still can't keep up, you're not alone. More families are relying more and more on even more credit cards and more debt. That's what I call the debt spiral. Now, if you're a homeowner caught in that spiral, carrying balances with interest rates in the 20s or even the 30s, it's time to get some relief, and I want to throw you a lifeline. Right now, mortgage rates are at a 3-year low, and my friends at American Financing are helping homeowners pay off the high interest debt on those cards with rates as low as 5 in the 5s and the low 5s. The low 5s. Their salary-based mortgage consultants, Colorado, don't just push loans, they build exit strategies from debt. On average, they're saving their customers $800 a month. That's like $10,000 a year, and that's only on average. You might do better. Plus, if you start today, you might even delay the next 2 mortgage payments. Look, there are no upfront fees or obligations. You should find out how much you can save. That's absolutely painless and crucially important. America's home for home loans is American Financing. I encourage you right now, give them a call. They're there. 888-900-1828. I've used them. Rich used them. My daughter. That's 888-900-1828. Hello. 888-900-1828. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 122334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR rates are in the 5s, starting 6.196% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 888-900-1828 for details about credit costs and terms.
All right, we'll be right back. Oops. Where am I? Oh, I thought we were at break. We're still here. We haven't attacked Iran yet, at least to the best of my knowledge. We still have an hour left in this program. And I would say this. It wouldn't hurt the time you go to bed to say a prayer for our country, the Commander-in-Chief, our military, and the civilians who live in Iran and around that area, as well as the Prime Minister of Israel, who's been a steadfast ally and knows that regime needs to go as well. And for the people there who will be targeted with ballistic missiles. But let's say a prayer at bedtime when you go to bed, because these are great patriots. I regret that they have to hear from self-appointed influencers who are undermining our president as commander-in-chief, who are undermining our military, that they will fail, who give aid and comfort to Iran, aid and comfort to Qatar, aid and comfort to the most radical Islamist terror groups out there. And yet live in our country and want you to believe they're America first. That they're magic. They're nothing of the sort. They've enriched themselves by spreading hate towards our own country. Hate toward Christians and Jews. They've enriched themselves by embracing wealthy Islamist dictatorships that are spreading terrorism and destroying our schools with billions of dollars every year. I would call them traitors. Traitors. That's what they are. The Power Hour is next. We'll be right back. That's right, I said it.
New York. Now, here's Mark Levin.
Let me tell you why I'm a conservative first and Republican second. You see it right now? You see Minneapolis, the Marxists and the socialists all organized using signal and encryption, funded by a billionaire in communist China. They create violence, they create circumstances where somebody got killed, 2 people got killed, and then the Republicans start to buckle. They start to buckle on ICE and Kristi Noem and so forth and so on. That's crazy. And now I'm hearing Republicans saying things like, just go after the really violent criminals. Okay, so what? You don't go after the Islamists and others who want to destroy our country? Is that the way that's supposed to work? And not only that, the Democrats win? because they're going to have all these voters in the future and birthright citizenship in the future only go after the
Oh, yeah.
criminals. So now, according to some of these Republicans, we have to have a national discussion on how to
Got to tune in to the next episode.
were brought into this country, many of whom are on welfare. That's right, I said it.
New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio. WABC New York, WRCR Hammershaw, 1071 WLIR Hampton Bays. News first at 59 past the hour.
77 WABC News starts now.
WABC News first at 59 past the hour. It is 31 and clear skies on this Friday, February 27th. Good evening. I'm Liz Radabali. In some international news, the U.S. is letting non-emergency embassy staff leave Israel as President Trump continues to threaten possible military action in Iran. The decision comes a day after another round of talks between the United States and Iran. President Trump has reportedly been briefed on potential military options in the country. ABC News is reporting that Navy Admiral Brad, the head of U.S. Central Command, is the one who briefed Trump on options, with Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Raisin-Kane also present. Trump told reporters outside the White House he would prefer not to use any military force.
It'd be nice if we could do it without, but sometimes you have to do it with. Look, we have the greatest military in the world. I'd love to have a force, but not yet.
Military forces have been building up in the region at a level not seen in years. Meanwhile, more action in the Middle East. Pakistan has carried out airstrikes against the two largest cities in Afghanistan. Mark Mayfield reports.
Officials from both nations say Pakistan launched airstrikes today, just hours after Afghan troops attacked Pakistani border positions. Afghanistan's capital Kabul was hit, and the southern city of Kandahar, where the supreme leader of the Taliban is believed to live, was also hit. Pakistan says it killed over 130 Taliban fighters. Afghanistan also claims to have killed dozens of Pakistani soldiers. Pakistan's defense minister is calling it an open war against the Taliban. Countries around the world are urging the nations to show restraint. Both sides had agreed to a ceasefire last October. I'm Mark Neiman.
President Trump is thinking about a so-called friendly takeover in Cuba. Trump says that Secretary of State is leading negotiations.
Marco Rubio is dealing on it at a very high level. And, they have no money, they have no oil, they have no food. And it's really right now a nation in deep trouble, and they want to start off.
Cuba has been basically cut off from its oil supply from Venezuela after the U.S. arrested former Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Heading back to the tri-state for some local news, 4 people were hurt, one critically, in a brutal multi-car crash that happened this morning in Long Island City. James Flippin with the story.
The crash happened on the LIE at 25th Street in Long Island City. Cars ended up piled on top of each other. Eyewitness News reports that a person was lifted on a backflow